Hello, Dale Majors here, and welcome to day 2 of the Masterclass. I'm happy to have you here, and I hope your homework went well, where you detailed and documented how your life would be if nothing changed in 5 years. And from here on out, we're going to be talking about change and progress and really closing that gap, creating a gap, then closing it. So I'm excited to be with you, and thank you for being here. So today the theme is you become like those you spend the most time with. So we're gonna dig into this, and hopefully by the end of the video you will be a lot more thoughtful about where you're spending your time and who you're spending your time with. All right, so to start things off, I want you to open up your notebook and grab your pen and write down, make a list of the top people that you're spending the most time with in your life. So maybe you can take a break here, but just document who it is that you're spending time with, and then we're going to go through the list. So you can pause the video and start again when you're ready. So as you're looking through that list of people that you spend the most time with, how does it make you feel? Are they all people that you admire? Are there certain names on that list that you'd like to spend more time with? Are there certain names on that list that you may want to spend less time with? All right, so I want you to open up your notebook again and make a list of people in your life that you really admire, that engender a lot of the attributes and qualities that you really admire in someone. So pause the video and write down, your list of several people, 5, 6, 7, 10, of people that you really admire that are in your life. Okay, so the idea is that we become like the people we spend the most time with. I believe it was actually Jim Rohn who kind of coined this. He was a self-help speaker back in the day and motivational speaker, great guy. And he said that we become the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. And I really think the principle there is wherever we're, based on that, the thoughts become words, words become actions idea, the philosophy that you become what you think about most of the time. That idea, if you're bringing a lot of other influences in around you, they're going to rub off on you. You can't help it. So if you look, I've heard this tip when searching for a job. They say when you meet your coworkers and when you interview all the people around that you're going to be working with, you need to realize that you're going to become like them. And I think in general, that's the principle. When I was a kid, I would always go to the skating rink from when I was maybe 13 to 14 years old, and my parents eventually kind of banned me from going to the skating rink on Saturday night. And I'm sure a lot of the reasoning was because it wasn't a great crowd that was just hanging out there. And looking back, it wasn't. It was not a great crowd, and it's probably good that I got out when I did. We want our kids to hang out with good friends. We want anybody that we love to be able to spend time with good people. And I think all of us have maybe noticed when people have spent time with people that aren't as good an influence that it's rubbed off on them. All right, so if you become like the people that you spend the most time with, then how is it that we can spend more time with amazing people? And I have a few hacks that have helped me and I think can be helpful. So first off, spend time with great people and they will rub off on you. If you are in a situation, job or whatever, and you have control over it, if you can change the type of people you're hanging around with, then do. I've left jobs and I've left companies because I didn't want to become like the people that I was working with. So one of the other tips is read biographies. I read a lot of books, and there have been several books that I have read that I've just really enjoyed and where I felt motivated afterwards. There was a famous entrepreneur here in Utah named Larry H. Miller, and he bought the Utah Jazz, he started Larry H. Miller car dealerships, he started, a chain of movie theaters. He was just a real famous, amazing entrepreneur, and he has a book called Driven. I read that book, Driven, and every time I read it, I've read it several times. Every time I read it, I feel as if I'm chums with the guy who's since passed away, and I feel better. I feel like I'm a better person. I'm more entrepreneurial. It's amazing. And I've learned from him, and I can almost channel like some of his wisdom and knowledge thinking, oh, how would Larry think about this? The more that we learn about someone, the more that we can kind of channel and put their lens where we can almost use their pair of glasses in our life. So that's a way to do it. There's another book that I love by John Huntsman, Shoe Dog Millionaire. No, it's not Shoe Dog Millionaire. Shoe Dog is the Nike story, which is actually really great. Phil Knight, was that his name? So Barefoot to Billionaire is the book about John Huntsman. Really good book, and it talks about him just all growing up, what he thought about, the things that he participated in, what he did in school, how he saw certain deals, his level of integrity. There's all these different things that when you read it, you feel motivated. I think by reading books, that's kind of a way that you can hang out with people without really hanging out with them. I need to learn how to do my peace things, my quotes better, my air quotes. The other book, Warren Buffett, he wrote a book called Snowball that talked about his investment strategy, where over time he started small, he had his principles that he stuck to, and he just kept going and going and going, and they say that it snowballed to become, what he is today. So by reading about people and learning about their stories, we can essentially have them and their knowledge and their experience rub off on us. So that's one way that we can go and hang out with amazing people. So if you're going to read about things, you may as well read about positive things and about people that have done really well. All right, so one other tip here, as far as very deliberately hanging out with the right people and putting the right types of things in our mind. One of my favorite self-help books is by Brian Tracy. It's called Goals. And I've read tons of his other stuff, and I keep going back to Goals. It's like 3 hours of his gold. It's amazing. And one of the things that I love about that book, and one of the learnings that I take away from it, is he talks about how he does not read the news. He doesn't read the news. He says that if it's important enough, then you're going to learn about it eventually. So I read another book called Deep Work that talks about how we're just distracted all the time, and it has to do, it's kind of piggybacking on that same idea, they're related, that we can be doing our own thing and building our own life and creating our own amazing future, or we can let society and the news and social media and all these other noises fill our minds. So how often are we just going to read the news, looking at social media, and just consuming things that don't take us further down our path? So another way to make sure that we're putting some of the right thoughts in our head is regulating how much of that incoming noise we allow into our lives. So I personally have regulated how much news I watch, how much I'm on social media, how much I'm looking at just different things that are distracting. And kind of a pro tip that I've been doing for about a month that has been pretty awesome is just scheduling all of that time during the day so that I have one time during the day where I log onto Facebook, I get on LinkedIn, I read the news, and I do all that distracted type stuff during 1 hour. Then the rest of the time, I'm responsible for creating my own life. All right, so I hope that's helpful. We become what we think about most of the time, and we become like those that we spend the most time with. So we've already made a list of some of the heroes and people that we admire. I want you to continue to build that out and basically make what I call a hero list. So who are the top 5 or 10 people that you admire? And once you have that list, then I want you to write down the first attribute. You could even do 2 attributes that come to mind when you think about that person. And this will help you decide, like, who is it that you really want to be, and what are the things that you value, and what do you want to become? What kind of person do you want to be like? And we can use these people as a guide. All right, thanks for being here today. On the next video, we are going to talk about living in alignment and making sure that our actions, that all the things that we're doing are actually in alignment with what we really value. And I'm going to share with you a tool that you can use that will really give you a quick gauge of how aligned you are. So thanks for watching today. Appreciate you being here, and I will see you tomorrow.